Out. Okay, we are live. Let me just go here. Okay. Boom. Hey, how are you, buddy? A little bit, yeah. You want to come in? Come on in. Come on in. Grab a seat. Shell, you want to come in? Grab a seat. You can help. You can help me with my interview. You can help. Yeah. We are live now, I believe. Hold on, just checking. Let me just share this link here. Okay. Boom. All right. Boom. Boom.
Nothing like an Italian name.
What's that, Shell?
No, go ahead. I want you to.
Oh, okay. Hi, George. How are you? I'm Lefty Grimes. Welcome to our podcast.
Hi,
This is
I'm
Ignorance
George.
is No Excuse.
Hi, I'm George Martirano here with my nephew, Michael.
Okay. How you doing, Michael? Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Good to see
Yeah,
you.
Michael's my manager, yes.
Oh, okay. So what are you doing here at Can of One?
Well, we're here basically to see my good old buddy Randy. We were incarcerated together for a very, very, very long time. And you notice I said three verys. And that's why we came up. You know, we try to do these kind of cannabis events not, much as we can. We like to get to more, but it's difficult. It's difficult. But the most important thing is we support Randy Lanier with everything we do.
George, why don't you explain why you said three berries?
Well, I did 32 plus years for cannabis. I think Randy did over 25. So that's 57 years, just the two of us. It's insane
For a plant.
for a plant.
You were
And the worst prisons.
the worst prisons.
We were kept at the worst prisons, Marion, ADX,
That's
all the worst prisons.
maximum security.
Maximum security, yes.
Over a plant.
Yes, yes.
He was a first-time nonviolent offender.
So, oh my goodness, what happened? How did this happen to you?
You get well, the government, crazy. There's only two cases in the history of America where the government actually gave you the drugs, made you sell the drugs, and make you keep the money to cause a conspiracy. I personally never got caught with anything. I never even got caught with a joint. But the government delivered three small loads of marijuana to Philadelphia, equivalent to 2,600 pounds. Guys around me, they went out and sold it. We made money, and they let us keep the money, which caused the marijuana count on the indictment, which I had a few other conspiracies on my indictment, but they were all wiped out in 5 years. The conspiracies were all worked out in 5 years. So what kept me 32 years is they needed the CCE count, the 848 count. So they created it. I didn't create it. They created it and let us keep the money. It was only two cases, my case and the Freeway Ricky Ross case, where the government gave him millions and millions of dollars worth of cocaine. Not like my case, but they made him keep the money also.
Was that the precedent for your case?
Nah,
No.
my case is it's probably the strangest federal case in America, because it was just, life no parole was just untying knot after knot after knot after knot, because when you got life no parole, to get any kind of relief, every federal agency has to agree. On my case, which is unheard of, every federal DEA, FBI, prosecutor's office, homicide division, you name it, CIA, everybody had to agree. So that's how evil they are. Even though they do wrong and they put you away, when you finally to get out the door, they still want one signature out. Everyone had agreed to my release. That's how I don't know the right word. That's how they know they did so much wrong to me, and no one signature wanted to sign off.
George, when I spoke with Lefty earlier, he asked how you got out with having your wits about you, and I told him I think you came out better rather than bitter. Why don't you tell Lefty some of the accomplishments you did when you were away for the 32 years?
Well, I was a prolific writer. In the industry, we call it works. I did 31 works, novels, scripts, plays. Matter of fact, we're going to be producing a play December called Mob King Pen Pen, and the same producers that did Bronx Tale are doing me. And
right
then,
on.
While I was incarcerated, I became a mentor educator, not to go mad, because you had to keep I kept physically busy, but mentally busy. I needed to be extreme mentally busy. So by writing and teaching and mentoring, and the years went by, and then by 2015, the year that I was released, my documented, signed off by wardens, more than one warden, I graduated over 8,000 federal inmates in lifestyle change classes that I created the curriculum. And that was never given permission to any prisoner ever in America. Because when you create your own curriculum and that individual, that inmate graduate, that's keyed into the government Bureau of Prison system.
That's amazing.
So I'm proud of that accomplishment.
Yeah,
Two of my classes are still going on in many prisons called Fathers Behind Bars, where we took estranged fathers and united them with their children. I'm very proud of that.
Oh, wow.
And then we have another class that's still going, How to Start a Business for $1,000 or less. They're still going on.
Why are there so many estranged fathers from their children?
Times we live in. You know, the guy goes to jail, the wife or the girlfriend moves on. Now, he's mad at her, and then he don't want to communicate with the children. So we made a big difference with that. It's
That's
still
amazing.
going. We made a big difference.
That's so important. Yeah, because my dad left when I was 3.
Yeah, well.
And, you know, I know how it is to grow up without a father. And it's not,
So you can relate.
I can relate to that. And
Well, you had 2 qualifications to be in that class, Fathers Behind Bars. Number 1, you had to write a letter to yourself and read it in front of the class. And also you had to be enrolled in a GED or have a GED. I wasn't wasting my time because I was dying in there. So I'm teaching you to change your life.
Yeah.
Basically not to change my life because I had a death sentence.
Yeah. Well, my dad was behind bars, actually. He was in Vietnam. It's a little diversion, but listen to this. He was in Vietnam. He was a POW in Vietnam for weed on the American side.
Right.
Wow.
He got set up in Vietnam for selling weed. They put him in the American jail in Vietnam. When he came home, he had PTSD, and so I never really saw him after that. He kind of just went on his own way. And that's, in a way, the jail messed him up. The PTSD from the war messed him up.
Well, I have my idiosyncrasies from being incarcerated for all that time, but I know how to deal with it, and I don't let anybody deal with it but me. So, yeah, this is what our government does. They do things either with these young people in the military, young people incarceration. You know, listen, I'm no bleeding heart, ladies and gentlemen. You know, some people, some animals belong put away, but not for cannabis, not for a plant. Matter of fact, once I advanced as a mentor educator, the Bureau of Prisons actually gave me my whole unit, my whole cell block for these classes. And the best teachers to work with me, I used to wait for the bus to come in and find a guy who was in for weed. They were the best. They made sense. They weren't knuckleheads. Matter of fact, Randy's co-defendant, Gene Fisher, great guy. Gene came home, he was on home a short time, 2 years, and passed away with an accident. But Gene, he was a mentor educator. So I used to look for guys getting off the bus that had weed cases.
Oh, sorry. Here you go. Can you get in there now?
So I want to know where your place is in Philadelphia.
What's that? I can't hear you.
George, you're in the cannabis business yourself now, correct?
Yeah, we're in the cannabis. We're branding our products. Our major product is called the Grow Father, ladies and gentlemen. You all hold a Godfather, well, I'm the Grow Father. And I believe I think in 2 years' time we'll be probably the biggest brand in America, not only the world.
The Grow Father. That's a
Grow
great
Father,
name.
Yes.
Nice. And it's in Philly?
Well, yeah, we have company in California. We're
Okay.
in Pennsylvania. We're growing. But the most important thing in this industry, I believe, is to create jobs for young people. Creating jobs is what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a native Philadelphian, as George is his whole life, when he got out, he started a little CBD cafe off of South Street in Philadelphia.
Right
and
on.
It's going well. And as he said, obviously it's a business for himself, but he's more concerned with getting some local employment. And the business is now expanding under the Growfather brand.
Right.
Well, if they drop cannabis from a Schedule 1 to 3, I think overnight 1 million jobs will be created. So we'll pray for that day. It's still a witch hunt. Randy's he's still trying to get people out of prison, which we always do.
Yeah.
Still people, I mean, it's crazy. You got still guys doing life for weed. I just don't understand.
What do you think about Joe Biden pardoning?
He's so far the list is small possession cases. I wish he would go a little better. I mean, what about these guys doing life? You can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, come on. Don't just let a handful out on weed. Let everybody out for weed.
Yeah, just possession only, I believe, right?
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's federal, but it's
Right.
possession only.
Right. So, well, a lot of guys. Also, that's going to help a lot of guys that got jammed up in prison for weed. You're doing 10 years and you get caught with some weed in jail. They want to give you 2 years. They want to give you 5 years running wild. So there's a lot of guys that have been sentenced in prison for it.
For having weed in prison.
Right.
Did you ever have weed in prison? Was it available?
Well, there were prisons where when I first got life no parole, I got arrested in '83. I was sentenced in 1984, and I went to the worst prison in America, which was Marion. I never forgot. I got there on Thanksgiving Eve, and the first thing I smelled through the vent was weed. I said, "Look at this! I'm in the most maximum security prison.
Wow.
Sentenced to life no parole for weed, and I'm smelling it through the vent. So where are we going here?
Wow.
Where are we going here? So, but in prison, I love to smoke. I smoke every day. I keep THC in my system. But prison, I couldn't because I had so much responsibility. I was administrating to so many lives as a teacher. If I got jammed up, then I'd lose all my classes. So it was, sometimes I walk in a cell and they'd be smoking and this, and I wanted to take a hit, but I couldn't. I couldn't.
So you changed a lot of lives with your classes, it seems like.
I
Which is
think I
important.
did. I think there's a lot of success cases. I don't have them all documented, but there's a lot of success cases.
Yeah, you changed things for the better.
Right.
George is being a little humble. People did a documentary on George, and one of the most moving parts of the documentary was they interviewed the U.S. attorney that was involved with his case. And she was raving about the type of how he was when he was incarcerated. And she summed it up by saying, the best I could say is the prison systems would be better if every prison had a George Martirano. That's coming from the U.S. attorney that prosecuted this case. So that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah. So, we still have a long way to go, ladies and gentlemen. Just stay the course. I don't think they're prosecuting much anymore because if you get a juror, I think 10 people on the juror are smoking, at least 10 or 8. So.
Yeah. In New Jersey, it's 2/3.
Yeah, so but we
good.
still have a lot of poor souls languishing. And, it's about women, too. Incarceration is not about men. There's got women suffering, too. So, everyone I know it's difficult right now out there for a lot of people. Bills coming through the mail and worry about which tomorrow's going to bring. But everyone can do something small. Write a letter, do something. So that's what we want to hear. That's what we're here for.
I got a couple of questions. They're pretty easy. Bong Holio was here a couple of weeks ago asking questions, these 3 questions. He was actually walking around. Bong Holio is an 8-foot purple bong. He gets in there, he goes to council meetings all over New Jersey. He fights for cannabis patients' rights and for wheelchair access. And he actually gets in there. It's amazing. He plays guitar. And he was asking these questions. I like these questions a lot. First one was, when was the first time you smoked weed?
Oh, about 15.
15.
I didn't like to drink. Everybody was drinking then. You were a kid,
Yeah.
beer, cheap
Cigarettes.
wine, and but I never smoked a cigarette, but I
Smoke.
found weed at a young age coped me through all the mental anguish. Teenagers have mental anguish, so it helped me through that.
It was a joint, your first time a joint or a blunt, or a bong?
No, joint. I think
joint.
it was a joint. Yeah.
Second question is, what's your favorite munchie food?
Munchie food when I'm on weed,
Yeah.
chocolate, anything chocolate,
Chocolate?
anything. I'll eat a pound of chocolate.
Like a Hershey's bar, Cadbury? What's your favorite chocolate?
No, man. Before I went to prison, I used to put a friend. This is true. I used to put him on a train from Philly to Manhattan and go to the chocolate shop in the Plaza because they had the best chocolate I ever found in New York. And I used to, if I put him on a train in the summer, I used to give him a little cooler so the chocolate would melt.
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah, and I told him if that chocolate melts, don't come back to Philly. That's true.
What was imported chocolate? They would import chocolate
yeah,
probably?
I don't know if it's still there in the Plaza, but it had the best chocolate, and I used to
Oh.
send him on
Oh,
the train
man.
to bring back my chocolate.
Chocolate run.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Third question is, okay, if you have a friend who's down on his luck or anxious and needs a pickup, or you just want to lift somebody up, you have like a gem, a life's something that would help them through their life or their tough time.
Well, anything with THC in it or CBD, anything. I believe in it. I believe in depression, poor health, anything. I think it's so important to keep in the bloodstream. I have a daughter. She doesn't feel good at times, and I make sure CBD and THC is in her bloodstream with her illnesses. I totally believe in it. I have friends that were supposed to be. I have one friend. She was on her deathbed. Now she's fine. She's fine, and I totally believe in it.
What would you tell them though to cheer them up? Any kind of advice you would give someone to cheer them up?
Go smoke. Today, yesteryear you smoke what they had. It was one kind of weed in the world.
Oh yeah.
The Rubella strain or something like that. But now you have all different strains, so you have to be a little bit educated. What do you want? If you're feeling down, you want to smoke something to keep you a little up, like
Right
sativa.
on. Right on.
If you want an indigo, you want to relax, maybe you have anxiety, then you do indigo. Hybrid. So you have to be a little educated. So what we do at our shop, we educate a lot of people.
Can't keep up with all the strain names anymore. There's so many
my
different.
God.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
I need the terps. Tell me the terps, because that's what's important, right? The
Exactly.
terps.
Randy, real quick, Randy visited a shop in New York, and they had him branded. They were selling packs of weed on his name.
Wow.
He didn't even know.
He didn't know.
And T-shirts.
No. What?
He didn't even know, but he stopped it. Today,
Put a stop to that real quick, or give me 10% or 50%
Yeah.
or 60%, whatever you're doing there.
listen, I love it. I love it. Long as no one's getting hurt, I love it. I want to see weed. There is a place, I'm not going to mention the name. There is a very prestigious social club in Philadelphia. I mean, there, been a couple 100 years, very prestigious.
Wow.
And my judge, who's not long gone, he's not alive anymore. Anyway, he used to live there, and he had a suite there. And he was like king of that place. But I pride myself. Last year I went there. These are all the prestigious people. I went there and smoked a joint. And it guess what? It got all around the city. I met a guy in Baltimore. He says, I heard about that. This is like places where the president stays. I stood there and I smoked a joint.
That's great. No.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's
And I was in a room with all these. You had to wear tux, but I didn't have a tux. I had a suit, and when I smoked it, I stood in front of everybody. I smoked it, and I just died it out and walked out. Never went back.
now. Was that the coolest place you ever smoked weed, or can you top that one?
I could probably top that. I just can't think of it right now.
You smoked weed so many times, so many places.
Yeah. Well, when I got out of jail, when you get out of jail, you're on paper. It's called, you're on probation or parole, whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, you have to, mostly everybody, gets a urinalysis.
For how long?
Well, if you're on 3 years or 5 years, they can.
Oh, parole
They
for
can
5
give
years.
you. They can give you a test at random many times that
Oh.
they want. So that's what my lawyer believes, that I was crazy, because I was only out of jail 48 hours, and I had to go to parole board, federal parole, and you know the woman said, "Sit down, Mr. Martirano," and my lawyer sat, and I didn't sit down, and they're looking at me why I didn't sit down, and I says, "Listen, if you're going to give me your analysis, send me back to jail." That's like telling them, I didn't say I'm going to smoke. All I tell you, if you're going to give me your analysis, send me back to prison. And I put my hands out, cuffed me. She got all nervous. She said, "Just relax, please relax." She ran out of the office.
Oh,
She
yeah.
talked to her superior, I imagine. My lawyer says, "I didn't know how crazy you were until today. I just got you out of jail 32 years, and you're saying that." I said, "Because I believe in smoking marijuana." And they left me alone. They said,
As
"We're
they
not gonna
should.
You're not going to give you any of your analysis."
Man, they stole Chris's pee in the federal housing. He was in federal house. He was in a bad car accident, and they waited till he was asleep, and they stole his pee from his catheter, and they found out he had THC, and they kicked him out of his federal housing. For yeah.
It's like a recovery home.
Well, who ratted? Somebody ratted to them. Somebody ratted out to them.
I was
Give me that mic.
applying- I was actually getting patients in there because it was like a recovery home. You know what I mean? A lot of people with spinal cord injuries were there, and I met a lot of people. You know, that's how they used to medicate, and they weren't allowed to get their medical card, and they're not allowed to hold it there. So I provided them edibles. You know, they couldn't really smoke. Most of them couldn't even light them up because they have no function. You know what I mean? So I provided them, and I still do. And
Is it in New York City?
no, this is in New Jersey, in Florham Park. So yeah, so they said, "Oh, hey, we're gonna drug test you," and I said, "No, you're not taking my urine." They waited until I fell asleep. I had no power of it. I had my urethra ripped at that point, at that time. So they waited until I fell asleep. I woke up next morning, and then they came, and then they told me I had to leave.
Real nice.
And I
Real
was
nice people.
I couldn't
Yeah.
walk at the time. I was
Real
I was in
nice.
a wheelchair.
He was in a wheelchair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Real nice.
Yeah. Compassion. There's your compassion.
Yeah, well, I would expose them, people. I would put their name out there. I would expose them.
Oh yeah, we did already.
Yeah.
I don't. I believe they were just federally funded. I think.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons. And now I'm told that they can get their medical marijuana license, but the issue is they can't hold it there,
Yeah, off property.
and they can't smoke on the property.
We should do that. We should smoke out there.
You know, I get so annoyed with the red tape. I mean, it just doesn't stop. Leave us alone. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, you want to grow on your own property, a few plants, and smoke and have a life. Leave us alone.
They would give me my oxys, my Neurontin, everything on time. They made sure they came up to me. They found me in the parking lot if I was in the parking lot or whatever.
That's
But
important.
I couldn't get weed.
Oxys, yeah. Weed. Oh.
It's just, I hope I see it in my lifetime where we're just done with all the witch hunting. Done. That's what I hope to see.
I think we will. It should happen soon. I'm going to ask you those same questions. When was the first time you smoked weed?
Oh, probably when I was 17.
17?
Yeah.
And what's your favorite munchie food?
Pizza.
Pizza. Oh,
Yes.
pizza. I love pizza. You got good pizza in Philly.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You got good cheesesteaks in Philly, too.
That's true.
But not the big famous ones, not Pat's, or you got to go to the smaller ones, right?
Smaller ones, but Pat's and Geno's are good friends of ours.
They're good. Yeah.
Good people.
Which
too.
one's
Yep.
better, Pat's or Geno's? Hey, this is the big question.
They're different.
They're both different.
They're different.
Right.
But I prefer either one.
He's not
Either
going to
one.
go there
No, I
because he
can't
knows
go there.
both.
Well,
They're friends with them.
They have different. One just burned down. It's being rebuilt. Jim steaks.
Oh, Jim's.
On
Okay,
South
Jim's.
Now, I used to eat Jim's. Now, see, Jim's. Everyone has their technique. Jim's doesn't cook with any oil. He throws water on his grill.
They're
He
all
cooks
different.
his-
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
yes.
Now, Geno's. Before he, no, Pat's. Well, I know Frankie, the owner. before he puts that grill up front for the public, he'll buy a grill and keep just cooking onions on it for months.
Season the grill.
Season the meat.
And then he'll bring
Season the
that grill out. So they all have different techniques.
That's important.
Yeah, I don't know how about Gino does it, but and the rolls are important. We started with they have good rolls. You know, this as in our culture, Italian, there's different texture to bread. I like a real chewable, heavy texture to bread, but you can't do that with the cheesesteak. You have to have the right textured roll. So that's important.
Toasted or non-toasted?
Non-toasted rolls.
Non-toasted, yeah. That's what I see that mostly.
They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The only day they close is Christmas. So,
You make marinara sauce?
not me. I can, but my daughter, she'll cook, yeah.
I'll give you a tip. I watch this on the Food Network. Since we're talking food, because my Italian friends love this. You take your marinara sauce, your regular marinara sauce, add a mirepoix to it. You take roasted plum tomatoes, roasted garlic, roasted carrots, roasted celery. Just roast it up. You throw that into your marinara sauce. Just a mirepoix. Do it. You'll thank me later. It adds so much body and.
Someday you can cook for us.
Oh, I told my Italian friend that who's making marinara sauce his whole life, and I told it was a life changer for him. Just adding the mirepoix to that, it was like, oh. Because we were talking food before with Faye. I was getting hungry because he was telling me some recipes, and I was like, oh.
Well, we eat out a lot. You know, I'm single, Michael's single, so we eat out a lot.
Where do you go? What's your favorite place?
Oh, Christ, there's so many. Philly, New York. I eat at Danico's in New York.
Danico's.
On Mulberry.
Uh-huh.
I go to there, and I go to Cafe Palermo. That's where I have all my meetings. Anybody wants to catch me in New York. Cafe Palermo on Mulberry Street. And in Philadelphia, there's a famous place. Matter of fact, November, it's here 55 years, and that's a saloon restaurant. Very, very famous place. So, big advocate. The owner's a dear friend and an advocate. For years, many years, he fought to bring me home. Yeah,
Right on.
so...
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
What's your life's gem? If you have a friend who's depressed or anxious, upset, what would you tell them?
It's going to get better. It's going to get better. I mean, as bad as things are today, it could be worse, and it's going to get better. Just persevere.
Right on. How do we reach you guys? Is there a website or something that
TheGrowFather.com.
TheGrowFather.com.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Get out of your way here. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we don't hit the road now.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for your time.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
I got a meeting with 5 lawyers tonight.
Oh, wow. Thanks again, brother. Appreciate it. God bless you.
So the stories from Freedom Grow continue
Yes.
as we have our
Yes.
prisoners come out and do such
God
fabulous things. So thank you, Lefty, for
Man.
giving them time and hearing their stories and bearing witness to what people have been going through.
Wow.
All those decades that they've been together, and you'd say 70-some years, and you think about it between the two of them, like, oh my God. 3 of them get together hundreds of years of like incarceration. It's ridiculous.
I had more questions, but we ran out of time. But man, yeah, the stories they must have together, what they went through.
Oh, you should see, and they're funny.
Because they have both overcame this. They
Right,
both
and
came out
unfortunately,
stronger.
they'll be sitting there laughing about what you are now in on your horror stories, and they're laughing
Yeah,
and
like,
you're like
"Ah,
going,
it's
"Oh my
nothing.
goodness!"
There's nothing left, you little baby.
They are wonderful people, but they are giving back and they're doing what they
That's
can,
helping
and that's
others.
why we want all of you to reach out, because you bear for the grace of God and for the way things
right.
are.
That's right.
We could have been in their situation at any time, and it's not just them; it's their families that suffer. It's their nieces and nephews who miss them. We've had people lost in every which way. So reach out. Remember us, Freedom Grow. If you got a business, we're a charity like Lefty. You can donate. So wheelchairs can go everywhere. And we'll donate until there's no more prisoners to donate to. Okay, that's our goal. We want to work our way out of business. We want to make sure that there's nobody in jail for pot, and we'll just work ourselves out of business. That's our goal. That's our goal.
Right on.
Yeah, I will. No man left behind. We don't forget all that good stuff. Yeah, well, that's us because we're in a war.
Yeah, leave the 99, go back for the one. But
Right.
I think the whole 99 should go back for the one, though. Everyone should go back for the one.
Well, anyway,
just a
I
couple.
think we're wrapping up here. Looks like they're starting to wrap up here.
Really? Is that what's
think-
happening here?
I think they are. I think, what do you think, security? We got a little while left, about another hour or
Ken
so
Wolski
is what they're
speaks.
saying.
Isn't Ken Wolski speaking?
At 4,
Four
so
o'clock,
we got,
Ken
well,
Wolski,
we
yeah.
got to not be on the air at 4 because we got to go see Ken.
Yeah, I want to.
That's what I'm saying is we're going to have to wrap up here because
Oh,
we
that.
got to stop.
Okay, yeah.
And be ready for Ken.
All right, let's do that then. I think
right?
let's get
we
off
gotta
the air.
do that.
Let's get off the air. I love live podcasts like this. We're just going. It's fun. All right, boys and girls, whoever's watching. I don't even know if anyone's watching. Oh, Seth. Hey, Seth. How are you, buddy? You're getting a fun treat today. Catch you all later. We are live at the Canna One. We might come on back later. See you later.